Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Callie Mitchmore. I'm the marketing coordinator here with Club OS. We're really excited to kick off this Anytime Fitness webinar, but I am going to give everybody about a minute or two to jump on. We still have a couple of stragglers coming in. So at about 2:02, I will get started. Thanks. All right, so at about 2:02, so we're going to just dive right in. Like I mentioned, my name is Kelly Mitchmore. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Club OS. We have a really exciting webinar for you today. This is our first Anytime Fitness specific webinar, so we're really excited about it. And I'm joined by two awesome Anytime Fitness managers. We've got Jenny Wendlun and Kyle Piotrowski. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to just dive right in. This is definitely going to be a pretty interview style webinar. So if you have any questions that you want to ask either them, or we also have our Anytime Fitness expert, Betty, on the line. So if there's any questions that you have, now is the time to ask. But I'm going to go ahead and just kick us off with the first question. Does that work for y'all?
Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
Do it.
Okay. All right. So just to kick off your day, this is a day in the life of an Anytime Fitness manager. So what are some of the first things that you do to get organized and get set for the day?
Jenny, I'll go ahead and let you go first.
Sounds good. So for me, I oversee 12 locations, so it's important for me to get all of my admin stuff done right away in the morning. I typically get to the club around 6 in the morning, just kind of go through all my emails, stuff like that. And then I review just prior day's performance, just kind of going through our prods and our KPIs that we have for each individual location. Look at what's on the schedule for today or the current day as far as appointments and fitness consultations and stuff like that. And then I'll typically go into the reporting of Club OS and pull some of those, just kind of cross-reference with the prod. I'll pull the transaction report just to make sure all the drafts went through, make sure we didn't have any failed drafts. And then for each club, I really just have a to-do list that I create at the beginning of the week. So I kind of just go through it as the week goes and just prioritize my day on what's important and what each club needs at that given point in time. But my main goal in the morning is just to kind of get all my admin stuff done before my team gets to the club. That way I can be pretty available for them while they're on the staffed hours.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's a very similar process for me. Just to kind of let everyone know that a prod, it's a system that we use through Excel just to track our business day by day. We just use that to cross-check all of our business through Club OS at the same time. So it's basically like a fail-safe for each other. If they don't add up for some reason, you can easily dive in and figure out where you're missing any reporting issues or concerns. But yeah, no, I get in, I start my day. I'll just get settled. I'll restock the club, straighten some things out, clean. I make sure I get around to all staffs and any members that are in the club, just say hello, good morning. Check my cleaning schedule if the cleaning crew is supposed to be there. If any of my employees are supposed to clean for the day, confirm all appointments. check voicemails, missed calls, customer service concerns, emails, basically anything that, just underlying. And then I print reporting. Yeah, just like Jenny, I know she pulls a transaction report. I typically will print my prod, which is my Excel spreadsheet. I'll print my accrual report from ClubOS, my active client list from ClubOS, my unpaid invoices list if there are any. Hopefully none of you guys have any. And any membership delinquents in my transactions report. But yeah, that's how I start my morning.
Y'all have some pretty busy mornings. Y'all do a lot before it starts getting set up. So because you manage multiple locations, obviously you're really busy. So how does ClubOS help you manage those locations, and what parts of ClubOS do you use to do that?
I think for me, it just centralizes everything in one location. I find it easy to bounce from club to club, depending on whatever I'm looking for. I like the ability to, easily access the calendar for everybody. You can pull reports for multiple locations at one time. But the best thing that I like about ClubOS, being that my clubs are so far spread apart, it allows me to kind of get in and do some of the work that the managers are doing on a day-to-day basis, such as follow-ups or email campaigns or calling bad debt, whether it's membership-based or personal training-based. But I'm able to help them out from afar without physically having to be at the club. So that's what I really like about ClubOS.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's just a one-stop hub for me, so I'm able to pretty much do exactly what Jenny said and manage my entire day off of ClubOS. It allows me to kind of just get a really good vibe for what's going on in the club, even if I can't be there, or even if I haven't been there for a few days. I'm able to access every part of the reporting, or the schedule, the calendar, and just figure out what's going on there. And I have seamless conversations with my managers. So I'm just able to know everything that's going on in the club throughout the day.
Awesome. Yeah. So kind of playing off of that, you're managing a lot of different people, managing multiple locations. So I'm sure that you also have to report to and handle like different goals and KPIs and keep your teams accountable. So can you talk a little bit about how y'all manage goals and how you keep your teams accountable for them?
For sure. So for our clubs, and it's similar to Kyle up in Illinois as well, is they all have their monthly goals as far as financial numbers go. But what I like to focus on is really just the KPIs in ClubOS, specifically the daily drivers of the club, being the leads. Just lead generation is important in general because that's how you're going to build your business. Appointment set, so one thing that I hold my team accountable for is to not go into any days without appointments on your book, just because it sets yourself up for success. When I was running a club, my boss wouldn't let us leave until we had 10 appointments scheduled for that next day. And it kind of got me in that mindset, saying that if there's a will, there's a way. But, when you think about it, maybe 50, 60% of those are going to show up. And then hopefully we have at least an 80% closing ratio. So that's one thing that we focus on. Also, FC scheduled. Obviously, the more fitness consultations that you have on your schedule, the more opportunity we have to build our business. From there, you got the show percentage and close percentage and stuff like that. But each of our locations, kind of depending on the market size, are going to have daily driver goals. So, for example, if a club is in a bigger market, they might have a goal of 100 leads, and then we'll break that down by day. So they know exactly how many leads they would need to get per day to reach their goal by the end of the month. So we call that a daily par. And if we can get our leads, we're typically able to get our appointment goal. Our appointment goal for bigger markets is also going to be 100. I think it breaks down to about 4-ish a day. So again, it's all about setting up for success. And then for fitness consultations and stuff like that, I expect all my managers to have at least 90% of the people that joined scheduled to at least a fitness consultation if they didn't buy personal training at point of sale. And then everybody is going to have a 6-week assessment, as they go through their membership with us. So we'll always follow up with them. So our goal is really to get, 40, 50, 60 fitness consultations minimum every single month. And then from there, you got your shows. Hopefully it's a little bit higher than 50%. And then we got our close, which we shoot for as far as personal training, maybe 30, 40% conversion rate from there.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. You're always going to have your production and your revenue-based goals, which we do have. So I don't want to act like we don't have those. But a big part of what I focus on when I talk to my teams, because no one ever likes to be nagged about their production goals every single day. I think everybody on your team should already want to make money. So I put a huge focus on service. Obviously that stems from appointments, like Jenny was saying, but I like constantly in every email I send out to my team is just service, service, service. So at the beginning of each month, among production goals, they'll have service goals, and that's really what I dive into the most, whether it be the amount of sessions my trainers are servicing or whether it be the consultations, fitness consultations being done. But I really I base that off of, I know our average package sold, and the goal that they have for the month, based on last year's numbers. And then I will divide that up into how many consultations need to be done to the month. And just gives me an accurate idea of where they're going to be able to finish at and what I can manage off of for the entire month. So just to dummy it down off of Jenny's badass answer.
I love that you talk about service though, because I feel like that sometimes can be overlooked. So that's a very cool goal to set. And
there's a
so,
lot of tedious stuff that goes into that sometimes with like sessions. Like when you talk about consultation service, there's not many big points to dive into. There's just your main points. But when it's about like session service by your trainers and you're diving into recurring appointments and your retention score, your retention percentage, that can be a little tedious to like dive into all of that. So if you do have the time, that's a huge thing that I focus on. I can pretty much gauge each month, my next month, by how many sessions were serviced in my club the prior month, and I'll know exactly where I'm going to be at with re-sign business.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And we have all of our trainers do business plans as well, where they're going to track, all their clients, all their sessions, and, how many fitness consultations they need in order to hit their goals, for their personal financial goals and what they want to make in the business as well. But we'll have trainers make anywhere from 500 to, I've had one that made $5,000 a month, just being a personal trainer.
Yeah, that's true. Jenny, do you do your business plan twice a month or once a month?
We typically do it in the beginning of the month, and then we'll do a mid-month review halfway through.
Same here. Cool.
Nice. Okay, cool. So obviously y'all are kind of have your hand in every aspect of the club. So I know this this question is pretty vague, and you both probably have a million things that you do, but what does your average work day look like when you go to the office every day?
Yeah, this one, we were talking about this earlier. No 2 days are really the same. Everything, it's different. For example, for me, I'm doing a special project with corporate as well, where I have 3 clubs running a completely different play than my other locations as well. So it's kind of all over the place. It depends on if you got new trainers, if you got new managers, just where you're at in each club. But outside of me doing my admin stuff in the morning, I just try to be available, throughout the day, whether I can coach and develop staff in general. I do fitness consultations, I do club tours, like we fix things, we clean things, just basically anything that needs to get done. That's what we do.
Yeah, you're a summary of the HR department, the maintenance team, the cleaning crew, the management, training and developing staff. It's just literally, you said it the best way, is our hands are in everything. I don't want to jump ahead, but I know that we're going to have a chance to discuss team, and like onboarding your team. And it's like nothing would be possible. And I know Jenny feels the exact same way. Nothing would be possible without spending the amount of time training and developing your staff to be able to handle all of those things, because you can't be at all of Jenny's 72 clubs. You can't be at all those at one time. So
yeah. The biggest thing for me, and it's probably the same for Kyle, just we want our staff to take ownership in that club. I tell my guys all the time, if you own this club, what would you do for it? A lot of my guys have a similar mindset to me, where they want to advance in their career as well. So they really do take that ownership. But, the more the manager can do inside of the club, obviously it's better for us, because we're spread out all over the place and we can't be at every place at one time.
Amen.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I think, like you mentioned, training up your staff, I feel like is probably something you spend a lot of time on. So, like Kyle mentioned, we will kind of get to that and talk a little bit more in depth on that. But for now, we're going to move it a little bit more specific. So, how do you and your teams or your clubs use Club OS from a marketing standpoint?
We use the automated emails and the email blast quite a bit. For the automated emails, all of the clubs have a welcome letter that goes out, as soon as they join the gym. We have non-usage emails that are based on usage. So, for example, as soon as a member goes 21 days without swiping their key at the door, they're going to get an automated email. Then I have those set up throughout, the course of their membership as well, where they're going to automatically get it. We have nurturing emails, as far as like coaching clients versus non-coaching clients, where the communication is specific to each of those. And then as far as just like the email blast, we typically use those more for like any sales or promotions that we have going on. We do monthly newsletters as well, where we'll do an email blast. But it's a quick way to reach a lot of people in a short amount of time, which I love. And I also love the check-in filter on there as well. Because, if you have somebody that is open-ended on their membership, maybe not using the club, and they get an email, it might spark them, and remind them that, hey, they have a membership, and they'll probably just want to come and cancel. So I really do like the filters that they have on the marketing side of it as well.
Yeah, I think we might be twins, Jenny. So far everything's been pretty close. The campaign emails. I mean, all the setup ones. I mean, right now the most common ones are like, we have like we each month my facilities will hold a mid-month party and a closeout party. Mid-month is any time right in the middle of the month, typically on like a Wednesday or Thursday, and then it'll be end of the month. Typically the last 2 days of the month, trying to be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Whatever you can get closest to there. But for those, we're sending out blast campaign emails for those days. Throughout the entire week before that, 2 times a day, every single day. Just getting people excited about it, just for any incentives or any like fun games we have that day. If we have like healthy snacks throughout the day, any raffles we have, any vendors that we have come to the club. So just having those parties, and I'm not gonna lie, I used to think that was having it twice a month was a little bit much, but we did it. We took it away for a little bit, and a lot of people responded with slight negativity about how they missed the parties that we would have. So we do have them twice a month, and that's the blast campaigns are awesome for that. They really help.
Very cool. That's awesome that y'all can do events that often. I think I'm sure you can get pretty creative with the vendors that you have and the games you're playing and prizes and things like that.
For sure.
So based on your experience, we've talked a little bit about the email marketing side of it, but what follow-up or reach out methods work best? So between like texting, calling, and emailing, and why do you think that particular one seems to work well?
So for this one, what I try to focus on is being as the most personable as possible. Obviously, if you are able to get somebody on the phone, it's a lot more personable than text or email. What we found though, and I know I'm the same way, is if I get a call from a number that I don't know, I'm probably not going to respond to it or answer it. And I hardly ever check my voicemails as well, which is probably not a good thing. But what we typically do and what we found that worked is if we get like a new lead that comes in through Club OS, we'll shoot them a text first just saying, hey, this is Anytime Fitness. Got your email saying you're interested in the club. Just want to know what time works best for a call. And then we usually get a response back saying, what time would work best for them. And then we just make a note and shoot them a call at whatever time works better for them so we can get them on the phone and really do that pre-qualifying before they come into the club. If we can't get them, then we'll go just to an email after that. But typically if it's a prospect, we're going to do it maybe every 2 days until we can get them inside of the club. And then as far as like member follow-ups, for us, again, we want to try to call first, but again, typically we don't get a lot of response with it. But the biggest thing that we try to do, regardless of if it's a call, text, or an email, we want to make it as personable as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of Club OS, typically to the fitness profile, and we're going to see, what their goals are, just any type of communication or just stats that we have on this person that we can use in our follow-ups and in our contacts with them, just because it kind of goes a long way when it's more personal like that.
Cool. Yeah. I yeah, just I guess with what she's saying, like unfortunately I'm kind of old school, so texting is really it does work the best. Yeah, I would say we get the most responses by far through text, and they're usually pretty damn quick too. So that's very helpful. But I love to pick up the phone and call someone, so we don't shy away from calling and emailing like crazy as well. But you do get a quicker response from text messages, and having the feature in OS just makes your life a lot easier. Yeah, Jenny will vouch for that, and I'll vouch for her because I'll call Jenny and she will miss my call and she will text me back, hey, what's up? I missed your call. So texting does definitely work best all around.
Yeah, I'm the complete same. If I get a number or a call from a number I don't know, I usually don't answer it. I will like listen to the voicemail after and probably give them a call back. But I do see that happening quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I love the follow-up structure though in ClubOS. Like I wish, obviously I'm in the clubs now, but when I was running a club, I wish I had something like this that can just organize everything for us. Kind of just takes the guessing out of everything and make sure that we hit everybody that needs to be hit when they need to be contacted.
Yeah, not even as an owner, but I mean as a trainer. Back in a long time ago when I trained people, if I had the ability to mass message, a group of people, or basically just text them from a computer, write them a message from a computer, wow, like how much time that would have saved me.
Yeah.
My life would have been so much easier than trying to organize everything else that I tried to do.
yeah, no, that's very true. I'm glad that it helps organize everything for y'all, and I think it could also help in this aspect. I mean, talking about organization, but Kyle, you mentioned the events earlier, so maybe we can dive in a little bit more about how do your locations get involved in your communities? What type of events do y'all have, and what like local activities are you part of?
Yeah, so the parties in our club happen twice a month. That doesn't pull us away from having like other little things. If there's something that's happening like a certain holiday throughout the month and it happens to be towards the middle or towards the end of the month, we'll roll with that theme. With our parties we do like I said, we do raffles and things like that. I mean, you can go as big as raffling off a TV if you're able to get someone to. I don't like spending our own money, so if I can get someone to donate something like that, then that's great. Other than that, it's just fun stuff. Whether you raffle off a month for the club or have a contest for it, your entire staff. We have our entire staff dress up for the day. Well, if it's like this month, it's going to be red, white, or next month it's going to be red, white, and blue. Or towards the end of this month, it'll be red, white, and blue. So we'll have like that 4th of July theme with it. Just make it as fun as possible. So parties are simple, but we do a lot of on-sites. Anywhere we can go, any place that's crazy enough to let us in, we will go and we will set up a table, a booth, and pretty much have our own little party there. Just talk to as many employees as we can, or anybody walking by that's willing to listen. I love to have it be staffed with at least 2 people, so I'll have it with a manager and with a trainer. I always try to have at least one trainer involved. Our facilities are coaching facilities. And that's, primarily what we depend on Club OS on is, for our training departments. So I want people to see the trainer being there and see how personable they are and that they can interact with people and answer fitness related questions, whether it's nutrition directed or nutritionally directed or, exercise directed.
For sure. And ours is similar. We do a lot of in-club culture type stuff, such as parties or member appreciation days and stuff like that. Anything that you can do to bring your members together is going to be awesome. Outside of the community, we'll go do wellness visits at companies like Kyle said. We'll do health fairs. We've also put on a couple charity events where we've raised up to $25,000 to give to just local organizations. Which is awesome. We have coaches that will do youth camps for some of the athletes in town, which they really love to do that. And then, just chamber events and stuff like that. Just anything that we can do out in the community, we're going to try to do it. And we're the same. We'll send a manager or fitness manager along with a trainer as well, just because coaching is our main focus. So if we can get a coach in front of people, that's awesome.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's awesome about the charity, the $25,000. That's awesome. That's a very cool thing.
Yeah.
So based on everything that you do, which as we've talked about is a lot, what is the number one tip that you would give someone who is going to be like their first week in your shoes, in your jobs?
In our job,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just having the right people in place. Finding people that are super passionate about, this industry, people that are in it for the right reasons. They want to help people make a change in their life. So one is just having the right people in place, and two, spend the time with them. Coaching them and developing them is huge. A lot of times we see people just throw staff into the mix and expect them to know what to do, but the more time that you spend with them on the front end of everything is it's going to be easier for you down the road. And then just hold them accountable, lead by example, and don't be afraid to get in and get dirty with them. Just get in, sell memberships, do fitness consultations. Everything that they do, you should be doing too.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. I started to write some things down beforehand, and you pretty much laid them out there. The most important thing to me is just people. You're always going to hear that the only way to grow your business is having the right people in place, and it's not always as easy to find the right people. I'm sure you all have Indeed postings galore like I do, so it's not always easy to find the right people, but it's about finding the best person you can, and helping mold that person. So spending as much time as you can with them, and either create your minions, the mini you, or whoever your best is, replicate your best. Just constantly just devote as much time as you can to them, because that is going to be your trust factor when you leave the facility and when you're not there and you can't be there every minute. Do you trust that person to run the club the same way you would, or to take as much pride in the club the same way you would? That's huge for you. So, Jenny said, get in, get dirty with your team. I don't know, everyone who's on this call, and I don't know if this is something you do daily. For Jenny and I, it is right now, something that we get to do every single day, and devote our time every single day with our team. But just the more that you can do it, and the more that they see you do the right things, the easier it's going to be on you in the long run.
For sure.
Yeah. Those are some good, y'all sound like great managers. I feel like everyone hopes to have a manager that, wants to come in and do the same exact things they're doing and help out with any part of the job. So that's awesome. You mentioned that personal training was pretty much the lifeblood of kind of what y'all do at Anytime Fitness. So what are some of the best strategies that you have seen work when it comes to selling PT, and kind of how do y'all do that?
Kyle, man, you're the PT expert.
Oh man, I knew you were gonna do that. All right. So, something really, really simple that I'll just start with is, I think a lot of times people miss the boat. And right now I'm actually in the middle of training a new fitness manager for our team, and sometimes it's just hard for people to ask for the sale. So I'll just say that up front. And as simple as that sounds, and as many times as a lot of you probably have heard, just asking for the sale. You have to ask everyone, capitalize everyone, for the sale. I guess behind that is having a system. I don't think that I would be anywhere near as successful as I am without having a system in place that can be followed from start to finish. So an onboarding system for a brand new member is huge. So when someone walks through that door, that first experience they get is the bridge. It's the bridge from a random person to now a new member. And then it's, are they going to become a client? When we talk about our clubs, I say we, because I know Jenny does the same thing. When we talk about our clubs, we talk about them as coaching facilities. That's what they are. It's no longer just convenience as the model. It's a coaching model. And that's what we're all about. So, 80% of our members at any given moment are all working with a coach, and that's something we take pride in. So we do boast about it as much as we can. And just having those people walk around the club, see people training, having some staff there, training clients, and, waving at them, saying hello, and seeing people have fun and getting results, and, enjoying fitness, for what it is a huge, huge helper. And then, just going back to the system, there is a process for everything that we do. And we don't have, the next 5 hours to cover, the system that we have in place. So the best thing I can see to do is something is always going to be better than nothing, and organization is huge. So having a system in place where you can start, you can have from start to finish and onboarding new clientele, and getting with the proper coach and the proper coaching is going to be a huge factor. And then at the very end of that, I'm just going to go back to it, ask for the sale. I feel like a lot of times the boat's missed by simply not saying, hey, let's get you started in your training program. Let's get you started in your program now. Let's get you started in your program today. That's always going to be where your team needs to, end at some point. Because I think a lot of people just walk out of the door if that's not done.
I agree. I mean, he hit it right on the nail. We believe everybody does better with the coach. We are a coaching facility where the majority of our members work with the coach on some capacity, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's group coaching, or whether virtual coaching, or whether we just follow up with them every 6 weeks, we still have them. We're their support system inside and outside of the club. So just having that communication with everybody that you come in contact with, just based around coaching, is definitely going to be huge. When you're going through, and this kind of starts when somebody walks through the door, you're doing the tour and you're qualifying. Your tour should be based on the benefits of the club, not just the features that we have. Every club has equipment, but what is this stuff going to do for them? How is functional training going to benefit them? Just laying out, what all it's going to take to actually see the results that you're looking for, whether it's nutrition, cardio, resistance training, flexibility, mobility, and just having that professional assistant with you every step of the way. We're going to give you the education, where you can do it for the rest of your life as well. And then it just kind of goes with the flow from there. But like Kyle said, have a system in place and don't be afraid to ask for the sale. And I think that's where a lot of trainers struggle with, because personal training is a little bit bigger of an investment. They're just not comfortable asking for that sale. But if you have that system and it's followed through the whole way, it becomes a lot easier for trainers and managers and MXMs.
Amen.
Awesome. Love it. So we've mentioned a bunch of things that you've used Club OS for throughout this, but specifically just on a day-to-day basis, where do you find yourself in Club OS most, and what features do you use the most on a day-to-day basis?
Kyle, man.
Yeah, so I mean, I literally if I'll make it simple right away, and then I'll explain a little bit. If Club OS was down, I wouldn't be able to run my day. So from the start of my morning, I have all of Club OS reporting emailed me anytime between 5 and 6 a.m. So as soon as I get up, I have it there. I'm looking at it right away. I don't necessarily print it yet. I print it when I get to the club, but I guess the number one most important thing for me is the reporting. It's just going to help me manage every aspect of my business for all of my clubs, no matter where I am or what I'm doing. There's a ton of different reports. I don't know if Kelly, if you're able to share reporting, certain reports for them. If they have questions at the end and they want to know which reports are used the most, I can break that down. But besides reporting, that I would have to say, whether you're using the calendar for just overlooking your day, or scheduling people, making adjustments, signing people up for new personal training agreements, checking agreements to see how many payments are left, sessions that are left, just really every single aspect that revolves around personal training is like the biggest focus I have. And then if you want to look at the starting points, you can go into everything we discussed already, like, just your campaigns, your follow-ups, check-ins, you name it.
Yeah, I agree. The reporting is probably the part that I'm in the most as well, just because it has everything that you need to know about your business right there in front of you, or not in front of you, it emails it to you. And then the calendar as well, just making sure that I know what's going on each day at the club, making sure that, calls are being confirmed or appointments are being confirmed, fitness consultations are being confirmed, sessions are being rendered, trainers aren't servicing sessions that aren't funded and stuff like that. So yeah, reporting for me would probably be the biggest thing.
Awesome. And I think this is another place that y'all find yourself using Club OS, but when a new staff member comes on board or you're opening a new location, how do you get them up to speed quickly? I know you talked a lot about really investing in your employees. So how does that process look when someone comes on board?
Yeah, for us, I mean, we got trainer onboarding manuals, we got manager onboarding manuals. Typically, where I start is just getting them familiar with all the systems first, whether it's Club OS, Club Hub, ABC Financial, the dashboard, stuff like that. So that's really where I'm going to start, and then I'm going to dive in more to the sales and stuff after that. But I don't try to, unless I'm forced to, I try to take at least 4 weeks to really onboard somebody. The first 2 weeks I'll work side by side with them. Even if it's not inside their club that they would be at, I might pull them to a different club and we'll work together. And then the next 2 weeks, I'll put them in the location that they're going to be at, and I'll still be there for support and stuff like that. But for me, it's really a 4 week process, and 90 days before they're comfortable with everything that has to do with the gym itself. But I try not to rush it, just because onboarding them correctly and making sure that they understand it and understand why they're doing it is extremely important to me.
Yeah, we have manuals as well for trainers and managers. I'd be honestly, Jenny, I'd be really interested to see yours, because I'd probably laugh at how similar they are. Just so, it's a compliment to Club OS. I mean, like I said, I couldn't run my day without OS. So, the first thing I do teach is Club OS. We have for managers, for H2Is and for MXMs, we have checklists for each position, that's how they run their day to day. Within the first couple things on that checklist, it's all about, getting the proper information from Club OS to start your day and to run your day. So we teach Club OS, and then we teach other systems off of that. It's hard to put it all into one word when I say system. I do mean like the actual operating systems on the computer, but then our systems that we have in place for our checklist, how you run your day, for onboarding new members, onboarding new clients, everything, breaking down expectations. Besides our manuals, we do have an expectation sheet that we cover with each employee. Basic expectations of being in the club and being in the facility. That's it.
Awesome. It sounds like y'all have everything pretty much down to a T. I feel like y'all are rocking and rolling at what y'all are doing over there. So that's awesome. And then let's see. So we've got one more question, and then we're going to wrap up. And if there's any questions that anyone has, they can shoot them in here. And then also, Kyle, I may just at the end run through like which reports you use most, and have Betty, our Anytime Fitness expert, maybe chime in a little bit on kind of what each of them includes, just so people can. We've talked a lot about reporting, so I want to make sure that they know what's available. But for the last question here, how do you use follow-ups, and how do you communicate with members and prospects? So we've talked about this a little, but specifically, how do you use follow-ups? Which statuses do you use, and kind of what do those look like?
For us, we use, as far as the membership side or the prospect side, we have a schedule that's set on the back end, which everybody has. For prospects, we're reaching out to them every other day. So every 2 days, we'll go up to maybe 8 or 9 contacts before they'll drop off. We upload scripts and emails on the back end as well. The managers and trainers are able to use it, but they don't have to. I'd prefer them to make it more personable than anything. As far as our member follow-ups, we typically put those with the fitness manager. Every 6 weeks, we're going to keep them in the follow-up box or the follow-up schedule where they're going to reach out. But with our system and our process, they're probably getting hit, prior more times throughout the 6 weeks than anything. But yeah, so the prospects, what else do we do in there? We do a lot of different things. Renewal potential as far as personal training goes. So we know clients that are running out of sessions and stuff like that. Usage, goals, all that good stuff. So.
I honestly, that's pretty much the exact same thing we do, so I don't have much to add there.
Nice. Okay, cool. So just on that last question, Kyle, what reports do you use specifically, or what are you looking for in the reports? And then Betty can kind of jump in too, just to kind of explain them.
I think Betty and Jenny are both going to laugh at me because they know that I have issues with reports. So I literally have pretty much every report sent to me every morning for each club because I if I find like the smallest hiccup, I just cross check it back and forth, and I don't do that every single day, but at least once a week I'm doing it. So overall, if you want to just manage your business straight away and just get a snapshot of what it looks like, the new vitals report is awesome. It is very helpful. But all the other reporting is basically just a breakdown of where all the vitals numbers come from. So I'm not going to list you every report that I pull, but just the what I would say are the most important reports, besides the vitals, because the vitals is the summary. I would have to say it's going to be your unpaid invoices, your transactions report, your active client list, your accrual, if I didn't say that already, your package sales summary, and maybe I think if you want to add one more, you can go to your scheduled draft. With your transactions report, you don't necessarily need that, but if you want to mark out the remaining month's draft that's left, then that's very helpful as well.
Awesome. I know if anyone has questions too, Betty is like the expert on all these reports. Betty, is there any specific report that you see is most helpful that other owners or other managers are pulling as well pretty often?
Well, Kyle is definitely on the reports for sure. So that is that's a pretty comprehensive list. All of those really focusing very heavily on the training management side. So those are really, we have a lot of reports for that, and so Kyle is just kind of really on the ball with those. Like he said, those are all scheduled out for him. So it's pretty awesome to really see how closely Kyle's clubs are using those reports and are really just, it keeps them super organized, and it just keeps their business running super smoothly. So definitely snaps to Kyle and his clubs for that for sure. But yeah, those are like the accrual. PT transactions is kind of just helping you know which transactions are not going through at a, just very quickly, so that, you staff and trainers are able to say, okay, I need to talk to client A. I need to make sure this person, gets me this month's, payment. And then of course, accrual on the other side of that, it's knowing how much the club is collecting. So extremely important. And then of course, even to just throw in from like a prospecting side, really wanting to know, how your staff is following up with people. The follow-up audit report is a great one. You can pull that by employee just to know how many follow-ups the club is doing as a whole, how much each employee is doing. Your membership sold report as well. Schedule that out so that at the first of the month, you can get the whole month before to know how you did, how memberships were for that month. It's just little things like that you can always have that are really nice. To just kind of keep track, and scheduling them is another thing that's important, because that way they're always being sent to you and you can always check that out.
Awesome. Thank you, Betty. And then we have another question here from the audience, I guess we can say. So the question is, we've been thinking about Club OS, but my owner says it's not really in the budget right now. Is it worth the price tag, especially in the beginning?
I would say 100% yes, just because it's a way for you to manage your business as a whole. I've used Club OS for 5, 6 years. I don't remember when we converted over there. Yeah, a few years. I definitely recommend it for sure. It's worth the money.
Yeah, it's what operating system are you using? And then I think with a lot of operating systems I've used in the past, it was kind of just more like, I'm using this to get by. I've never had like an operating system that really manages all aspects of your day-to-day business. So I would definitely break that down to them, and I'm pretty sure that this whole thing, if I had to guess, is being recorded. So play it back and let them hear that this covers literally every single thing you do in your club day to day. It'll really help.
Awesome. And yes, you are correct. This is being recorded, and that kind of wraps up the entire webinar here. So we will send out this recording tomorrow to anyone who signed up. But yeah, share it with your employees or share it with your coworkers. Y'all had a lot of good information in here, so I want to make sure everyone can hear it. And then on that note, we are doing a giveaway for the end of the month. So if you are a new club and you want to bring on Club OS, you will get a $150 gift card if you sign up before June 30th. So I just wanted to leave that here so that everyone can see it. We don't want anyone to miss out on that. And then Jenny and Kyle, really appreciate you guys coming on here. This was extremely helpful for, I know, me personally, but then also everyone else on this webinar, I'm sure, had learned a ton. But yeah, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good rest of your Thursday and a good rest of your week, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.